You're now listening to episode 24, Style of Play Football, with myself, Theo. As always, KOJO, man, what you saying?
I'm good. I'm good, man. Uh, yeah, man. I'm good, man. How are you?
That was like a very hesitant, I'm good. That was like, I'm good, but there's caveats in there.
Yeah, yeah.
I hear them ones. I hear them ones. Now I'm good. I'm good. The sun's shining. Last game of the season around the corner. European football is on the horizon. I'm happy, man. Happy times. I'm happy times. But if anyone who's watching on the YouTube live, please make sure you like the video. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel before you leave, and also make sure you go to the social accounts. Make sure you listen on the audio version if you're traveling out and about, tubes, driving, whatever, on your way to a football match, wherever you are. Make sure you go to the podcast as well. The audio version is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. Let's get straight into it, Kojo, because there's a bit to get through. Obviously, we got the awards coming up later, our individual personal awards, and then our team of the season that we've decided. And like I said to you before, I've gone with what you went with, and very similar. There were some honourable shout outs, which we'll get onto later. But let's start with an announcement that came out early this week. I think it was Wolverhampton Wanderers. There was a report in The Athletic that Wolverhampton Wanderers had initiated some sort of vote at the next Premier League meeting amongst all the Premier League clubs, which I think takes place in June.
Yes.
For them to scrap, or the indication is to try and scrap VAR, remove VAR from the Premier League, go back to how it is in the EFL, Championship, League One, League Two, where they don't have VAR at the moment. What's your initial thoughts on that? What's your view?
Nah, don't agree with it. Look, I understand the frustration, especially coming from Wolves, because Wolves have had some very odd decisions against them this season. I think the most notable one is when a Willy Bowley goal was cancelled at Anfield for, I don't know if it was offside or if they saw a foul or something, but either way, it should have been a goal. Everything was clear. So they've had their moments to be aggrieved by. But what I will say, if I'm being honest, is it's, again, technology is not the issue, man.
No, it's
Technology
true.
is
It's
not the
true.
issue. It's just that simple. Look, it's there to make the referees' lives a lot easier. And quite frankly, they're not making their own lives easier. That's the issue. There should be a discussion as to one, the training. I think the letter should be about what's happening in training sessions with the referees when they're using these VAR to see if they're coming to the right decision. And it's difficult to sort of separate who is from or supports a certain team and all that, because if they hired me as an independent person and I came and said, "Oh, I support Aston Villa," but then they put me in a Manchester Derby game as VAR, you know who I support really and truly. I'm a Man United fan. It's very hard to differentiate between the two, but if they are adamant that referees are the ones that must be behind the camera, then just to remove all doubt, there has to be a way they can remove or sort of change around the referees for certain games so there's no influence. So you don't have a situation where Nottingham Forest are drawing up a letter saying we didn't get 3 penalties because the guy at VAR is a Luton fan, or anything else along those lines. Where I don't know, when Man United played Arsenal fans were on social media saying, "Oh, he's from Manchester, so how do you know he doesn't support Manchester United? He's a local boy." That kind of stuff. You can avoid that. I think those things are the problem. Me personally, I don't complain about those things. I try to trust the referees to do their job, but technology is not the issue. And now what's going to happen is that you're going to remove the technology, because I have a feeling that it's going to go through and they're going to say no VAR, 14 clubs minimum is the requirement. I reckon 14 clubs are going to agree with them. And then what's going to happen is that on the first game of the season, there's going to be a very stupid decision, and everyone's going to be saying, "Where's my camera?" And we're back to square one again. Keep the technology, man. Keep it. Suck it up and keep it.
Yeah, I hear that. I do hear that. I think it's a difficult one, because I feel that I agree with you. I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that the technology isn't the problem. Like we've said it before, we've said it on a number of occasions. The technology is not the problem. I've said it on here before, I've said on other podcasts, you know, they use VAR very, very well, or they seem to use VAR very, very well in other leagues across Europe. So I don't think VAR, the technology, is the problem. I think for me personally, it's some of these decisions that are being made by the individual in control of the VAR. And I agree with you as well, to the sense that I wouldn't scrap it, but I would also, I would definitely maybe pause it. I would look at maybe pausing, if not just for this season coming up, the upcoming season, but I'd probably look at pausing it, training the referees or getting other referees to come from other leagues to train the English referees or use the European referees to do their job properly, and then reintroduce it, because I feel that with that, you're going to get a bit more consistency across the piece. And I think prime example, Tariq Lamptey, Brighton, the other day, literally elbows Mudryk, elbows him to the point where.
So he did elbow him then.
Oh yeah, he knocked it like it was he got a concussion substitution out of it. Like he literally does it. He's done this. He's got into, I think with Lamptey as well, because I can't remember what game. It might have been a Chelsea game. It was a game I was watching this season, and he got sent off for something kind of very similar in terms of like he just didn't need to do the foul, but he did it, and then he got sent off, and he went to VAR and they sent him off for it. I can't remember what game it was in now. And the other night he done exactly the same thing. He didn't need to elbow Mudryk. He does it. He don't even go. I think they said it was inconclusive when they checked VAR. The same game, rightfully so as well. The same game, Reece James kicks out at João Pedro, I think it is.
Yeah.
He kicks out. That's a red card. I get it. He went to VAR. They check it. Whatever else, it's a red card. He's stupid. He's got CTE. Something. I don't know what's going on with Reece James. Him and his sister. The pair of them are just mad. But there's no consistency. Now, if we imagine we're going on to win or try and get Europe. We want 3 points. We want to try and creep into Europa League spot. Imagine that's Pochettino. We've just seen what's his name, Daniel Farke from Norwich, just get sacked this morning. Imagine it was Pochettino and he's in that situation where the objective is you've got to get Europa League football. Imagine that result now turns on its head and Brighton go on to win, or they get the point, and it's costing a manager his job. So those things I can't agree with. I think that's from on one side, I'm like, yeah, scrap it, because they're not getting it right first and foremost. Even in your game, Anthony Gordon should have had the penalty. Like Amrabat, for me, that's a penalty. Do you know what I mean? He like takes off. He doesn't just take the ball. He doesn't just take his ankle. He took half his sock off as well. Like there was a massive hole in his sock.
That's the issue with VAR. Me and KOJO were talking about it recently, and it was like there's situations where you have that one where I think they were so focused on Casemiro going in for the ball and saying, "Oh, he's got the ball, so there's no foul there," forgetting the fact that Amrabat is all over Gordon, dragging him back 1, 2, 3 times back. And then you go back to the Arsenal game at home to Bournemouth, where they got a decision in their favour as a foul, I believe. And you can see that Solanke is being yanked all the way to the ground by Saliba, but they're not focusing on that situation. And then you have other situations where you're a free calls for penalty, for example, and there is no foul, there's no contact. So you say no penalty, but then you don't book the other player for diving.
Yeah.
So they're essentially getting away with a crime, but you're only addressing one side of it. There's so many. This is the issue. There's so many faults that they miss. They focus so much on one thing, and it's like, we can't focus on the other. Or when they analyze two things, it has to be two extremes. Was it a foul? No. But then was he offside in the first place? The two extremes. They can't analyze the whole picture and be like, oh, wait, hold on. What's that over there? That's the issue. And that Lamptey one, for you to elbow somebody and say inconclusive.
Why not just send him to the screen? Or what I don't get is why not just send him to the screen and say, look, we can't make up our decision. Go look at the screen, because I think they done it for the Reece James one. They sent him straight to the screen and said, look, go and have a look. And even before then, so you're right what you just said as well. Because I think it was Cucurella. The ref awarded Chelsea a penalty early in the game. It's Cucurella. It worked out that actually the tackle from, I can't remember the Brighton player, but it was actually a decent, good foul, a tackle. It wasn't a foul, it was a tackle, and he won the ball. But the ball goes out for a corner. Now, when they done the VAR, we didn't get a corner. We didn't get a corner. We got a drop ball. We got a drop ball situation, and I'm like, but it's a corner because it's not a penalty. So if it's not a penalty, it has to be a corner. Do you know what I mean? So it's basic things like that. If they're not able to teach that to the refs, and the refs can't do that in modern day football, get rid of it. Pause the VAR. Obviously, when the assisted offside comes in, that'll help that. But it won't help for like the elbows. It won't help for the Anthony Gordon penalty. It won't help for those things where Nana's flying out and O'Neill's getting booked. Was that like the second to first game of the season or something like that? Where Nana's first game of the season, he's flying out. He's flying out, and he's not even. And then they're booking the manager for arguing a toss over a penalty. So it won't rule out those things. But for me, I'm with you. I wouldn't get rid of it, but we've got to educate the refs. Then the officials have got to be educated properly. And if they can't be educated properly, get rid of it because it's ruining the game. Like I said, it's costing. It could cost people a space in the Premier League, or you're getting relegated eventually. It could do that. We'd seen that with Sheffield United it was with Villa and Sheffield United a couple of seasons ago, where I think Sheffield went down, Villa stayed up, but it was over some mad game. Like it was the goal that wasn't a goal. I think it was a mad goal. I'm sure like Jack Grealish or someone was involved in it, and the ball hadn't crossed the line, or it did cross the line, or something like that. And Sheffield United went down. Villa stayed up. All that money that they generated from staying in the league, it's a madness. I don't think people realise.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just the training that's for me, man. But I find the timing really weird, and I don't know if you do as well, because we're definitely getting semi-automated VAR next season, especially with offsides and everything. That's the key thing. So there's a really weird time for Premier League clubs to say scrap the whole thing. Me personally, I'd say if you want to make changes, maybe make your complaint that, like you said, make sure the referee, first thing he does, once he said we're checking VAR, he wants the camera as well. There's no delay. Straight away. Not looking at it themselves for about 2 minutes and then they say, you know what, go and check it out. No. Let's check it out together. Let's just run this now. And then the second thing being for the offsides, look, if you've got something automated coming, then just let it run. When it was obviously Champions League, it's not the Premier League, but the Bayern game at the Bernabeu, where Lima scored that late goal, all the linesman has to do is just wait.
Just hold your flag and then let the goal go in.
Even if it's a flag, you as referee, if you see that there's still an attack going, hold your horses. Hold your horses, let the goal go, blow your whistle, say, look, it's called for offside, but we're going to run to the camera and just make sure this is certified. And you're good.
Yeah. Because then you're covered. You've covered yourself. You've covered the linesman. If it's offside, it's offside. If it's a goal, it's a goal. I think we said that last week. If it's a goal, it's a goal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I just think get it right or get rid. That's to me, that's the be all and end all is get it right or get rid, because it's ruining the game, man. I can't celebrate even goals that look onside. I don't celebrate them. Just in case. You know what I mean? I have to wait and then I have to watch the replay. Then I have to study the replay, make sure he's an offside. That man is an offside. He's not on. I have to study everything, and then by the time it's taken away like the initial passion of the game. Do you know what I mean? Like it's madness, man. Madness, crazy. But let us know what you think. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know what you think on our socials, the Twitter account as well. Let us know. Do you think VAR should be scrapped from the Premier League for next season? I think the vote, I think it's in June. I think you said then 14 teams. I think I read before that a lot of the teams actually want to keep VAR. So
I hope they do.
Here's where we get to Christmas and we're both pissed off with VAR still. So I'm just saying that it's a double-edged sword. But let's move to the awards. Let's move to the individual player awards. We've kind of come up with the category of best manager, best goal, best signing, worst signing of that's best signing of the season, worst signing of the season, the best player of the season, and an honourable shout out. So the honourable shout out could be someone who may not be a Man City player. It doesn't have to be a top 4, top 6 club. It could be anyone in the Premier League that's just impressed you. But Yeah, do this as if you're watching live, if you're here now, wherever, just make sure you do it with us. And if you're doing it afterwards, then again, let us know your thoughts in the comments about your best and worst of the season. But let's start with the best manager of the season so far.
Okay, I'll shoot first. I went for Unai Emery, and quite frankly, I just think it's ridiculous that in was it you say 18, 19 months or so, the team that he inherited from Gerrard, with an addition of maybe 3 players, have gone from 17th to 4th in 18 months, which tells you the difference in levels of coaching. It's just it's night and day. Obviously, look, Gerrard's obviously a lot newer to the game than Unai Emery, but from what we were seeing, and I was admitting myself, I was looking at the squad and saying they're just not good enough. Something missing. These players are not they're not up to par. But he's found a system that works for them. I say a system. He's one of the few managers that has a plan A, B, C. He's not just possession from the back. He can also play a bit long. He can play a bit more of aggressive, rugged style. Sometimes he can be a bit patient with his team, but he's given himself options with that. You know, you've got the chance where you can play like Mings and Consa, obviously before Mings got injured, so you got a bit more of a rugged system. Mings is not the best passer coming out of the defense, but then you've got Pau Torres who can pass out from the back instead. Differentiation. That's what we're talking about. That's what I like. So Aston Villa are in a position where they deserve to be. So I'm gonna go for him. I had Ange in my mind. The reason why I just didn't say Ange is because of the last 5 in 6 games losses. I, after that, I can't, because I still think Spurs have had a fantastic season for them. They lost Harry Kane. They had to change a lot of the team. New system, new this, adamant, lots of injuries, and they were still close to the Champions League spot. But yeah, man, Unai Emery's my boy. What are you saying?
Yeah, no, but I want to say this as well before. So we didn't. I don't know yours. You don't know mine, because I obviously. I think we're gonna have very similar, but we obviously didn't discuss who we were gonna pick before we started recording. But I've gone for Unai Emery as well, for the exact reasons you just said. I just think back to where Villa were under Steven Gerrard, and the style of football they were playing. They just looked very exposed. They were easy to play against, and then Unai Emery came in, and he made Villa Park a fortress, and that is not an easy thing to do. And like we said last week, he hasn't really gone out and spent millions and millions, like millions of pounds. He hasn't done that. He's just nurtured the team. He's got the best out of the team. He's lost injuries. When you think about some of the injuries that you just mentioned there, Tyrone Mings being a key one at the back. And he's got the best out of Ollie Watkins. I think for me, that's just to see him have the best season that he's had in the Premier League so far. It just shows you the level that he can potentially still go to as a striker. I just like, this is not to take away from Unai Emery this season, but I just think they will need to add to that squad going into that Champions League season next in August and September and beyond. They'll have to include more quality into that squad, because I think they'll get turned over a lot more. The expectation. I know they was in Europe this season, but I think this is the different level of players they're going to be potentially coming up against in the new format as well at the Champions League. I think they need to add to the squad, but I think he's the right manager to do that as well. So take all your points on board. I had to go Unai Emery as well. My other little shout out potentially was going to be sound a bit biased, but I was going to say Maurizio Pochettino. I was, only because of how he's ended the season, and I think we've only lost twice, maybe once since Boxing Day. I think Stamford Bridge. Sorry.
Check the form tables, and since your last defeat, you are third in the form tables. I'm not one of those people that like form tables. I hate them.
No, I know.
At the same time, the point remains. He gets a lot of really bad criticism for a team that's very new to each other, still very young.
I mean, I just think as well, very quickly on Poch, to potentially finish the season above Ange Postecoglou as well, who were technically title contenders. We didn't have them down as that, but that's what the media were dubbing them at the early start of the season, title contenders. If we finish above them come Sunday, which I think is still a possibility, then it kind of tells you how well he's done in the second half of the season from Pochettino's perspective. But yeah, I can't really. Obviously, the likelihood is, I think we said last week, Pep or Arteta will get it. But for us, Unai Emery is best manager of the season. Best goal. Let's go. Best goal.
Listen, this is all I can celebrate this season. It's Garnacho's over kick, man. That's
This
what I've
is
got left. That's what I've got left. I mean, so I'm just gonna take it. I'm just gonna take it, man. That goal was stupid, absolutely insane.
Was it as good as Rooney's?
No, but
No, I'm not saying.
actually,
I know. I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just asking because I think it was up there.
no. Yeah. No, I said no very quickly because what I always do is I always talk about the fact that the occasion as well.
What,
When really
the Manchester Derby one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about
technique.
the quality of the kick, yeah, it can compete because one of the ones that I think that can compete but never is spoken about is the one that Emery Chan scored for Liverpool.
Yeah.
That one was insane. Look at where the ball came from. To even the attempt of a kick or scissors kick or Pele, whatever you want to call it, is out of. It's crazy, but he pulled it off. It's up there. It's up there.
It's got to be. It's got to be up there. It's got to be up there.
For quality of goal, yeah, it's definitely up there. But that goal was, yeah, man, it was insane. So I mean, bro, that's what I've got. That's what I've got left. So I'm claiming that with my chest.
I've gone for the same, man. I've got this. That's why I put the disclaimer in there before because like I said, we don't know what we both picked. But I've gone for Garnacho as well because I think it was just one of those. It was just one of those goals that he just came out of nowhere. I can't remember what the result was. I think you were winning anyway. I think you beat them.
Yeah,
but
we won that game. Yeah.
But it was just out of nowhere, like, and it just, I think it even shocked him. Like, I know he's got the quality to do it. I'm not saying he hasn't, but for it to hit it so perfect and for it to go in the goal so perfect and beat the keeper and just, it was just a shame that it's obviously been overmassed by the troubles of United since then. But it was a good goal, man. I don't think we've seen another goal this season that was even close to that. Just quickly trying to think through the goals this season, but I can't think of a goal which is stuck in my head throughout the season like that one.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's got to take their award for best goal. Best signing of the season.
That's a tough one.
You think?
Well, what are you saying?
You want me to jump in?
Yeah, go on.
Right, I've gone. No, I'm going to disclaim this one as well. It sounds a bit biased, but I've gone for Cole Palmer. For me personally. It was a toss up between Cole Palmer and Declan Rice, and I think they're both probably, in terms of the signing, not in terms of what they've done this season for their clubs, but the Declan Rice came in for a lot of money, and I think a lot of people from that aren't Arsenal fans potentially might have thought, he's not worth that. He's not worth 100 million, but he's kind of lived up to the price tag. And I think with Declan Rice, because I feel like he plays a bit more up the field now. He's not playing in the same role that he played with as when he was at West Ham. He's kind of more in the midfield, advancing forward a bit more. And I think that suits him well. And that's probably down to Arteta and how the coaching staff have been able to change and adapt him. But he looks very good in that role. And I still talk about Declan Rice, and I think I said it when he was at West Ham. He does a lot of things that kind of just go unappreciated a little bit. And I feel like maybe is at Arsenal, he doesn't. That's not the case anymore. But I still think he does so much for the club, for the team, that kind of goes unnoticed. Do you know what I mean?
That's fair. That's fair.
But I say all that to say this: I have to go with Cole Palmer for the money that we've signed Cole Palmer. I think it was like 43, 48 million, something stupid like that. Not even 50 million. And if he carries on going at the level that he possibly can go on to, I think we've got ourselves a bargain there. And I think him hitting the same numbers as Eden Hazard in terms of goals and assists, and he's leveling with Frank Lampard in other stats. And I'm not a stats guy, but he's doing it in those kind of if you're a stats guy, he's ticking boxes. Do you know what I mean? He's ticking all the boxes there. Even his goal the other night, man, he's got everything in his locker. Can play from both flanks, left or right. He can play down the middle. He can score headers. He can score free kicks. He can take penalties. He's not scared to commit and commit defenders. Like, he's got it all in abundance. So for me, I think City dropped the ball on that one. They might regret it, but I've gone for Cole Palmer.
Yeah, I'm not. You know, I didn't forget about Cole Palmer, but I had three names in mind because I think like there's obviously going to be one that has a the I guess the lead if you want to talk about impact, and that's going to be Declan Rice because Arsenal are still in the title race, and the
Are they?
argument obviously
Are
being
they?
yes,
I'm,
yes,
I'm
yes
joking.
they
No, no,
are,
no. I'm joking. I'm
yes
joking.
they are, and I'm praying for West Ham to do a job, but we'll get onto that later. 'Cause I know me, you have different views on that one as well,
Yeah.
but they faltered towards the last 5-6 games of the season last year. And obviously, people were like, Declan Rice has come in, they've maintained the form, they've got big wins. And like you said, he does the stuff, whether you see it or not, even the stuff that you don't see, the most important stuff that he does on the ball and off the ball, you know, it's crazy. And it's crazy because even this season, I say halfway through, he was getting criticized by some Arsenal fans saying that he needs Partey or Jorginho because he's kind of limiting Arsenal going forward with his, at times, sideways passing. I'm like, he's keeping possession. That's probably his instruction, you know. But alongside those two, one person that I think I want to go for him just because I'm just going to try and go a left field with this one is Mickey Van de Ven.
Yeah, he was on my list. He was on my list.
I want to say this. I think I've said this before on this podcast. I'm going to say it again. I said that if Spurs didn't have their injuries, it's wasn't maybes, but I feel like if they had a fully fit squad and they kept on going, it had similar to the luck that Liverpool had when they won the league title, but they had such a I won't say a small squad, but a decent sized squad that, you know, as long as they keep players they fit, they can keep going and going and going. I feel like if they can manage to keep these guys fit, they'd be comfortably third, at least.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Mickey Van de Ven he's quality, man. He's quality. And I'm not even a fan of recovery defending, but of course his recovery defending is exceptional. But I also noticed that when Spurs are under pressure and he can't get the ball, more often than not, he's in the right
Yeah,
position
yeah.
to defend his spot. And most goals do not come from his side; they come from Romero's side because Romero's a lot more aggressive, so he's risky. I like a composed defender, but a composed defender that knows when to challenge and always isn't always backing off. He's solid. He's really good. And you know, I think when they lost Udogi a lot earlier, they should have played him left back and put Dragusin in the middle instead of Ben Davies. That's the reason why we're talking about Angeli and the 5 and 6 losses. That guy is exceptional, man. He's exceptional. So, yeah, I'm gonna choose Mickey Van de Ven, man. What a defender.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I like him. A very, very good defender. The worst signing of the season
This is easy. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. This is
is
really easy.
okay. You go first. I got three. I got three on my list, but go. I'll let you go.
I've got one. I've got one. I've got one. It's Mason Mount, man.
See.
It's Mason Mount. I hate to do it as well because a part of me doesn't particularly blame him because when he's been fit and available, he's not been getting the minutes or the chances, or he comes on stupid late. So I can't blame him in that regard. But the facts remain. You've come in and you've played, I think, less than 450 minutes this season overall in the league. It's bad, man. You paid how much? 60 million for you. And it's just not worked out. And you only have one moment so far for us where you scored a last minute goal against Brentford, which was immediately chalked out anyway. So we didn't even win the game. We didn't even get to win the game. So your moment's gone. I can't even call it a moment. It's your first goal.
It's a moment.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a moment within the game. It's look, I hate to do it to him, but it's quite frankly, it qualifies as a stink of the season. So my guy, he's gonna have to hold that L, man. The second person I had in mind, actually, no, I didn't have anybody else in mind. You know, real talk.
I got two more for you. I got two more.
Go on then.
I'm gonna see your Mason Mount. I'm gonna double that. I'm gonna go for Romeo Lavia.
I forgot he was there. I forgot he existed. He can't even play.
Yeah. So everything you said about Mason Mount is correct about Mason Mount because he's on my list. But when I think back to a player that we signed, we didn't really need him as well. We only got him because Liverpool wanted him, and he's played 32 minutes. I think it might have been against Crystal Palace, and he came on,
off the bench, I
and then he got
remember,
injured. I think it was Palace, and he's come on. And again, like you said, I'm not blaming the player due to injuries, but we've got to a little bit as well because it's your body. Like, I can't blame. You got to take some of the blame a little bit. You got to. It's your body.
Yeah.
So I just think, man, we could be on a. We might not get to see the best of him. I know it sounds crazy because of his age. He's still got, but if he has another season where he's injured consistently throughout the season, we may as well shut up shop on him.
What can you say, man? What can you say?
File it with all the other
What can you
players
say?
that we've brought, and they just haven't hit the grade. But him and Calvin Phillips to West Ham was on my list as well. Because
Ooh, yeah. You know what? Shout.
yeah.
Because that one has been a horror show. From
That's
start to
horrid.
finish.
That's horrid. That one I think deserves it more than Mason Mount and Lavia because he's actually played football and
Played, and every time he's come on, there's been a disaster.
Stinker.
You know what? Yeah, I'm switching.
Yeah, we're gonna have
this around because
no. We gotta give it to him because I think with Mason Mount, I think there's we both know there's a player in there. We both know there's a player in there. He can play well. Lavia, I've watched him for Southampton. There's a player in there. With Calvin Phillips, he's probably his last best season was at Leeds. How long ago did he leave Leeds? It's probably about 3-4 years now.
yeah, it's been a while now, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's got to be at least 3. He was at City for what, 2, I think.
Yeah, 2 years or so. Yeah.
So
And he really got criticised for being overweight by Pep in that one.
Man was there at the end of the season with the Premier League trophy and a medal. Like he contributed. Like, what are we doing? So I think for me, Calvin Phillips is the one. I think he's the biggest one out of all. When I look at the players that signed this season, whenever they've signed for clubs, he's got to be up there for me. I'm expecting a lot more from Lavia next season, a lot more from Mason Mount. But can we say the same about Calvin Phillips? I don't think we can.
No, it's crazy because when he was signed by West Ham, I think I said it on here, and I definitely tweeted it out that look, this is going to be a good signing. Another defensive player in that midfield, just to throw things up and be another option. Because I've never been a big fan of his, but I know that he's got some qualities, and I thought at West Ham he'd suit perfectly. And all it's just been disaster after disaster. That's now you don't even see him anymore.
Yeah, I think he's. It's a shame for him because I think that again. I think that move to City can go one or two ways for you, and it can either make you go into higher realms where you get signed by Real Madrid, or you get signed by a you know what I mean, a club on the same level as City, or you go downhill. And I think I was watching. Who was I watching the other day? Because I'm sure he was linked with City at one point. Jack Rodwell. Was it Jack Rodwell? Jack Rodwell.
Yes, he was. He went there. Did
he go there? I'm sure he went there.
He went there, and it was.
Yeah,
it was
I can't remember what league I was watching. It must have been
yeah.
like Australian or something. I can't remember what league I was watching the other day. But he was playing somewhere anyway. And it can go one or two ways. Like you either go that way or you go that way. And if you go that way, you tend to find you end up in the A League or the J League or the K League or the L League. Do you know what I mean? You end up somewhere. So it's a bit mad for him. It's a bit mad. But the best player of the season, I think we might agree on this one. But I'm gonna let you go first.
No, you go first.
I've gone for Ollie Watkins. I think for me, again, I think maybe when we spoke about the Premier League's nominations for their sort of category, Ollie Watkins for me I know obviously people talk about Haaland, they'll talk about Foden, they'll talk about Declan Rice, but like we keep saying, Villa should not be where they are. For me, they're overachieving.
Yeah.
In terms of what they're doing at the moment, their plans probably are to get in the Champions League in the next 2 or 3 years. Unai Emery's got them ahead of the time doing that, and Ollie Watkins' goals this season has helped do that. I think he's got a move in him, man. I think he's got a big move. I've been reading United are interested in him this summer window. I think he's got a big move in him because he's proven himself now at the top level. You know, he's partially carried that Villa team with others through to get the Champions League. I just think he's a proven, to me, he's like a proper natural number 9 goal scorer, and they're a dying breed, especially in the Premier League. So his numbers don't lie. I know he's not going to get the Golden Boot now because of Haaland's 4 goals the other week, but he's definitely one that deserves the credit for me. The best player this season that I've watched. Like, he's a threat going forward for any club if they sign him.
I can't disagree with that. To be fair, I think the only person that competes with him genuinely is Cole Palmer.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I mean, so Watkins has what 19 goals and I think 13 assists. Cole Palmer has 22 goals and 10 assists in a team that was
I
languishing
struggled
and,
throughout.
and struggled. And only I was about to say recently in the last 5-6 months, form has definitely picked up, but that doesn't happen anywhere close without him.
Yeah, it's facts.
Just the truth.
No, it's
Just the
facts.
truth.
It's facts.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking about it now, and it's just registering me now, and I'm just thinking. Dare I say, if Chelsea were in a Champions League spot, I think they say Cole Palmer as player of the year. And this is the thing. This is why I wanted to make this point. I know people go for Foden. Foden had a great year, of course. They'll go for Haaland, top goal scorer. Fine. So many other candidates can go for one. Arsenal, Declan Rice for his impact. Bukayo Saka for another solid year. But we need to go back to the times where minus minus the Ryan Giggs year. The year he won Player of the Year, I think it's because everyone knew he was coming to the end of his reign there.
Yeah,
So
kind of.
that was a bit
Yeah,
that was a bit weird. But I could appreciate the days of Scott Parker winning it. And I
yes,
could
yeah, yeah,
appreciate it because Scott Parker had a standout season, even though he wasn't in a team that was challenging for a title or major
yeah,
competition. But if you watch the player in isolation by himself, he was one of the top players in that league, point blank period. And it wasn't just because they had the most goals or the most assists. And when I make that argument about Cole Palmer and Watkins, I know they have numbers on top, so people say you're using numbers, but look at their performances. Watkins for Aston Villa, if he wasn't the number 9 goal scorer, he was always finding a way to contribute to an Aston Villa win. Cole Palmer was, when he wasn't scoring, it was very, very
assistant.
impactful.
Yeah,
He beat players. He creates chances. He has efforts on goal. Like he's such an impactful player that I can't think of a game where he wasn't there. I can only tell you, I can tell you that throughout the season, he's been impactful from start to finish. So, yeah, I'm if you go for Watkins, I'm going for Cole Palmer just to level it out
yeah, yeah.
personally.
No, that's fair, man. That's
For that.
that's
Yeah.
fair, man. That's understandable. And I'm not going to argue with that one because obviously I kind of biasly, if that's a word, I kind of agree with you on the bias one. But what was the last category? Oh yeah, the honourable shout out. I was just, while you were talking, I was just thinking of another player. My honourable shout out is actually Ross Barkley, and it kind of goes back to what you literally just said. Now my other one, I've got another one I'm going to talk about in a sec, but my one for Ross Barkley is because I feel that as much as I think Luton, I think they conceded 81 goals or something mad this season, which is why they are where they are. You know, last game of the season, they're theoretically down. But I just look at Ross Barkley and where he was at Chelsea. He went on loan to Nice, I think, before he got released from Chelsea. I think it was Nice, somewhere in France. And he's come back and he just looks like he's active on football again. When he was at Chelsea, I think the party life, the London life, and obviously he had issues when he was in Everton, and that's why he moved down to London, which is probably the worst thing he could have done. But when I watch him now, he's like almost like the glue to that Luton squad at the moment. And I just look at him and I think, yeah, he's a really good player. Honourable shout out. It's unfortunate. Kind of goes back to what you said about Scott Parker. Like, he was in the team that wasn't the best team, but he was one of those standout players. Do you know what I mean? And I think when you get a player like that, like Luton go down, I could see him going back to Everton. Like I could see Everton coming in for Ross Barkley or trying to get him, or a team that comes up, if it's Ipswich or someone like that, might come in for him and try and poach him, because I think he's too good for the Championship. So he's probably going to be one of those players that will leave in the summer. My other one was Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace.
Okay.
Because I feel like he's a player. I think they signed him from Blackburn, I think, and I mean, I watch him and I just think we could do with someone like that at Chelsea. Like, I know we've got enough players as it is, but we could do with someone like that in our midfield, man. Because he just, again, very much like I said about Declan Rice, he's doing a lot of things that go unnoticed in that team. I mean, Palace are lucky. You know, they got Elise, they got Eze, two players I think they'll struggle to keep hold of this summer. But Adam Wharton, I think not this summer, because I think he's only just signed for the club, but I think next year or so, he won't be there. He will not be at that club. He's too good. Him and Barkley, two players that I could see fitting into another sort of European, team that's looking to get into Europe. One of those teams, they'll fit in there easily, 100%.
Fair. Honorable mention for me. I've got one at Luton.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone thinks about it, but Elijah Adebayo.
Yeah.
I've just got some stats up here and just read it out to you guys. So him and Carlton Morris have the same amount of goals, but he's played 11 games less. So his goals per 90 is better. His minutes per goals are better. And check out this conversion rate. 29 shots, 10 goals.
Yeah, that's mad. That's
crazy.
That's mad.
I think we need to deep that. That's very, very good. 34%. That's what it says over here. So I don't know how accurate that is, but if they just rounded it up or it's like a, or whatever.
Yeah.
A decimal. But for a team that's in a relegation battle from the jump, for a team that was never expected to stay up or compete, and everyone was talking about Carlton Morris, and rightfully so. I'm going to even just debate that. But the guy's come in and he's done a stellar job, man.
Yeah, he has.
He's done a stellar job.
He has.
And I can't. I don't think he gets any praise really. Cause I've not heard his name spoken about anywhere. To be fair, maybe obviously amongst Luton fans, they would appreciate their players.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think anyone thinks about him. The eyes on Carlton Morris, rightfully so. Ross Barkley, rightfully so. I'd even say Alfie Doughty at left back was brilliant for them.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get moved to another Premier League team. I think he's really good. But Adebayo just does the work that isn't really noticed, and he's also a key player. I think the only thing that's missing, he hasn't got assists, but he's a number 9. I don't know for assists from you anyway.
Nah, you want your striker to be greedy.
Yeah, exactly. I want you to just go for goal when you can. And 29 shots and 10 goals, it's not easy in this league.
Not at all.
Especially when you're playing for a team that's at that level. So, shout out to him. My second one, which might make you happy, is Moises Caicedo.
Yes and no. Like, I think.
Hear me out.
Depends when you're measuring the success from.
Well, this is just me because this is individual awards, right? And I think his first 3.5 months at Chelsea were horrible. I think they were absolutely horrible. But then what he's done ever since then, and coincides with Chelsea picking up form, is he's found a consistency. And his consistency is good. He's not making these errors. He's very composed on the ball. It's like he's found his groove.
Yeah.
And the only thing that we were missing was just that balance in the midfield. I don't think Enzo was the problem, but Enzo coming out of the midfield due to injury, and then obviously Gallagher going backward and Palmer now back in number 10. I think you found a good balance there.
Yeah.
Because you've got two center midfielders now that go back and forth as well as each other, work as hard as each other. Whereas Enzo, I think Enzo can do that, but Enzo's more of a get the ball and play kind of player. He's a playmaker. He's not in what's the word, industrial, if you want to call him that.
Yeah.